Good evening. This is Debra V. Wilson, still just outside of Janesville, Wisconsin. The day is Saturday. The date is the 1st of October, 2016. The time is 1900 hours and 45 minutes. That's GMT minus 6. Today's podcast is called How We Construct, Define, and Assign Meaning. Today, I had what is, for me, an amazing experience. I watched the University of Michigan football game against the Badgers, which is University of Wisconsin. Michigan won. This is very pivotal for me and amazing because for approximately 40 years, my dad encouraged me to watch football as he thought the strategy of the game would resonate with me. Until now, I always shunned the prospect that the game seemed too violent, too much of a male construct of physicality for me. I still think both those things, but I have reassigned, redefined, and therefore assigned a new meaning to it. So, as I said, I watched the game this evening. Michigan won, which was amazing. The game was amazing because I saw this team of college athletes construct of the Badger, the U of W team, as the other and how to address the other. I saw the strategy U of M used. I saw that strategy in confronting who they defined as the other, shifting and adjusting and being redefined as the game unfolded to address a shifting and redefining University of Wisconsin Badger team. I thought it was fascinating, and I thought it was a metaphor for the ways in which we can approach life, the other. Approximately 30 years ago now, I traveled to the United Kingdom, London, England, for the first time. I began my travels to London, England. I remember being in a taxi cab, one of the few times I was actually in a taxi cab, I had a Nigerian driver. I'm African American, and I was talking to the Nigerian taxi driver, and he was asking me what I thought about London, England, as an American, and particularly as a Black American. And then he said, "This must be a very confusing place for you." I didn't know if he meant the accent. I didn't know if he meant the difference in conceptualization of English, the English language, the difference in accents, the money. I didn't know what he meant. And when I asked for an explanation, he said the British and the Irish. And I took a sigh. It was a exhale, and I said, yes, I don't understand. I don't understand why they have so much animosity towards each other. And with embarrassment, I remember saying, literally, I don't get it. They're all white people. Of course, I was from the States. I'm from Chicago, in which the narrative of othering overwhelmingly was at that time, and still pretty much is, although there were definitely some additional bits of othering, significant bits of othering going on in Chicago and the rest of the U.S. But overwhelmingly, when you spoke of the other, it's the white-black narrative in Chicago. I remember once the Nigerian taxi driver opened the door, I remember telling him I was confused by this animus between white British people, because that's what I saw, and white Irish people. I didn't get it. Again, they were all white people. What was the big deal? Approximately a decade later, I was to learn very clearly what the big deal, quote unquote, was. And I was, for a time, living in a border town in the Republic of Ireland, Dundalk, which was parts of the city were actively involved in the Troubles and actively involved in ensuring the peace. And I understood with immense clarity what the quote-unquote big deal was. And I remember thinking that two groups of people in which I had assigned one meeting over a decade ago They're all white people. I now redefined and reassigned meaning to them. After Dundalk, I returned to the United Kingdom, eventually to, my apologies, to London, England, and I continued my activism. The UK government was aware that I was in Dundalk. Before that, I was randomly questioned every blue moon, but before that, I was an American. Before that, never really encountered I was an American who was black. I was an American who was an Anglophile who traveled to the UK on a regular basis, London, England. Post Dundalk, the United Kingdom redefined me and reassigned meaning to me. I was a person among other intersecting identities who had lived for a time in what was a very active community in Dundalk, County Louth, in Ireland. Because the British had reassigned and redefined meaning to me, I began myself to redefine and reassign meaning to me and how I engaged with the country. My activism changed. It became more robust. I had a greater understanding of how conflicts and why conflicts are perpetuated. I also had a greater understanding of how conflicts can be minimized and how one or a group of people can work toward facilitating discussions, actions that might increase the odds of peace. I reassigned and redefined meaning to the space in which I occupied whilst I was in London, England. Then a few years later, I had an experience with the Israeli intelligence model. That experience caused me to redefine and reassign meaning to myself of who I was, why this had happened. It was a pleasant experience, and what this meant about me. I again saw myself, and it caused me to redefine and reassign meaning to Israelis in general, but specifically the intelligence model. Then, a few years later, I traveled to Canada and became aware of the security model in Canada. And once again, and intersected the security model in Canada. And once again, I found myself redefining a country, redefining the security model in Canada, and assigning meaning to it, which I had not previously, and therefore redefining and reassigning meaning to myself and who I was in the space in which I occupied and how I was perceived. All this to say, and as a result of watching a college football game, we are perpetually assigning meaning to people, places, things. Those meanings are not stagnant. They don't have to be stagnant. With additional experiences, additional maturity on our part, more information, we can adjust those meanings. We can redefine. We can choose to let additional information assist us in fleshing out a fuller meaning, a more nuanced meaning of the other, a place, people, or a situation. As usual, I'm going to post this podcast on my research page on Facebook. It's the page I'm using as a personal academic journey. I hope you will follow the page. I hope you will follow my postings and my writings and my podcasts. This is the 1st of October. I'm not sure when I will record again, as I'm in the process of planning to move to Israel for, at the very least, approximately a year whilst I work on my master's degree. I do hope I have the opportunity to learn more. I hope I have the opportunity to network with a myriad of other peace, security, civil people from the civil society sector who are working on understanding the world a little better through academics and through bottom up civil society activism. And I'm hoping that I get a chance to learn, have a better understanding from the state side, how and why security models are constructed and how they are experienced both by the civil society and by the state construct. This is Debra V. Wilson, and I probably record 1 or 2 more podcasts before I take off for Israel, but by chance I don't. I will record again once I am across the ocean. Thank you very much, and this is Debra V. Wilson. It's the 1st of October, 2016. Thank you.